the Nourish with Nora podcast. I'm so excited to be here today with one of my favorite entrepreneurs, Morgan Zanotti. She's a founder and former CEO of Primal Kitchen. She has a new startup. She's also an investor, a surfer, a triple boy mom, and an all-around badass. She's one of my favorite mentors, and I'm so thankful to have you here today, Morgan.
Hello, it's great to be here. How are you?
So good. Cheers. No, we're both like chugging tea this morning, like super.
Yes.
Well, I just want to dive in. So most recently, you and I were on stage together. The last time we were on stage together was at South by Southwest at the Female Quotient. And you said something that I cannot forget. And you actually recommended to people that they should, for leadership, like I was like, what is everyone's like top leadership, recommendations? And yours was read romance novels. So why are reading romance novels, you think, crucial to strong leadership?
I mean, I don't think it's crucial to strong leadership. I just think for a lot of as my therapist once called me, triple type A, like people that were so just like, okay, every book we read is about like nutrition or business or entrepreneurship. And it's just like, it was a breath of fresh air for me to kind of just escape into the world of romance novels. But I guess maybe some people do that through TV or something else. But the reading, I just think is cooler. So I am a romance novel junkie. There's some sort of dopamine addiction going on there. It's probably not healthy, but...
Well, I don't know. I've definitely been thinking about more of like therapy as part of your health stack. And I was actually just in London at South by Southwest last week, South by Southwest London, hosting the Health Span panel. And we were talking about how like therapy and whatnot and different therapeutic methods should be part of your like investment plan. Like just like you think about your investment strategy for the year, you should think about your health investment strategy. So I'm thinking of therapy is that way. And with my therapist, we were talking about the power of storytelling and how actually like we live stories throughout the ages and we're all these different characters of these stories. And so it's kind of interesting to think of like from a psychology perspective about like how in romance novels there are all these different characters and it's about the human experience and how it helps us be more human and maybe more empathetic, and it makes us like pause a little bit and not just be, I'm also a triple type A go-getters. Like it makes us like create a pause and like kind of and tap into that human and an emotion rather than just like outcomes. So I wonder if there is something there.
No, I think so. I think it's great. Yeah.
Well, if someone wanted to like start into romance novels, like, what do you recommend?
I mean, I only read like bettering myself self-help books for, I don't know, my entire adult life. I'm 41. Yeah. And then when I was pregnant with my third, I had really bad insomnia, and like pregnancy insomnia. And one of my best friends said you should read the Bridgerton series. And that was kind of like my gateway drug. So, and then it just
that's a good starter pack. Okay.
And then a lot deep. Yeah, that would be a good starter pack. And then it just went from there.
And
like 400 books later.
How many?
Like 400 books in 3 years later, and here I am.
Okay, so out of those 400, what are like a couple like kind of level 2 or like what would be the next kind of, or one that you're reading? One like
my favorite. I'll tell you some of my favorite authors. Like, you can't go wrong with Emily Henry, Allie Hazelwood.
Okay.
There's so many. I love Carly Fortune. She has great like summer beach reads. Elin Hilderbrand is like the Nantucket summer beach read queen.
Okay. I saw Tinks just came out with a book. Is that a rom-com? I don't know.
I haven't read that.
Okay. Just the Hamptons. A Hamptons love story.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, yeah. She's
see, look, I'm giving Rex. Okay, well, I'm
probably
like
trying to be the Elin
version, so
Hilderbrand of
this
the
is all
Hamptons.
going to be new for me. Wait, what?
She's probably trying to be the Elin Hilderbrand of the Hamptons. Also, like, you can't mention romance novels and not talk about Sarah J. Maas. She wrote A Court of Thorns and Roses, this like fantasy romance series, and I am not, nor was I ever like a fantasy girl or like I just never, I mean, I loved Harry Potter, but that was like the extent of it. And these books are amazing. Fourth Wing is amazing. So that sends you down like a whole nother genre. There's just a lot of options for you. It's really having a moment.
It really is. Okay, kind of magical realism and whatnot. Okay, well, I can't wait to dive into it, and I do think it's kind of interesting to think about.
I feel like I have a superpower where I could I specifically can tell. Like we were just in Mexico with some girlfriends on a surf trip, and I was like, okay, this is the book for you. And then someone else, I was like, no, you need to read this. And then I can. If I know you, I could be like, I think for you should probably start here. I get really.
Okay, well, what's your prescription for me? What's your romance novel prescription? That's a new thing doctors are going to start. And I know you're not a doctor, but like, what would you prescribe for me?
I think you probably should read Fourth Wing if you haven't. I feel like you would like that.
Okay. fun. I do like magical realism and
Yeah, I could see you kind of being out there. Sarah J. Maas is amazing, so you can also read A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I think you would really like Fourth Wing.
and I guess if you're going to escape, like really escape into Fantasyland, just like
Yeah, except it's like a lot of work. It's a lot of world building, so it's
Okay.
kind of like sometimes I can't read too many back to back. I have to like mix in a really just like dumbed down. I don't need to
Quickly.
remember these new worlds and cities and how things work different. It's a lot of world building. Anyway,
Well, I love
that's
this
a
also
lot.
because
A lot on romance novels.
well, just like I think that I also had Dr. Weiss on Eric Weiss on the pod, and he was talking about the power of rest. And then Dr. Deepti, who we both know and who's my doctor, she was talking about just resilience and restoration. And I do think like it, a book is a project, but it helps you slow down and stop. And I do think that's something strong for leadership. So I think you're onto something. I think this is like it's the beginning. Welcome to Morgan's
It's really
romance
working
novel.
for me. So, I mean, there you have it.
I love it. Okay, well, let's pivot and talk a little bit about family because you are Miss Do It All, and you're a mom of 3. You managed to go on girls' surf trip. You're an excellent friend. Like we share actually a mutual best friend, Natalia Calderon, and you like are that excellent friend. You make time for your people. So like, how do you juggle it, and how do you look at juggling it? Because it is not easy to like manage so many different worlds.
Yeah. Gosh, I just don't think anybody really juggles it, right? Like some weeks you're better at some areas of your life and some weeks you're not. I will say I'm pretty firm in my boundaries, like travel. Like I just don't travel for work. Like it takes a lot to get me on a plane to go somewhere for work. I don't, my kids are 3, almost 3, so basically 2, 5, and 6, right? And I just don't like leaving. So there's like, that just is pretty big boundary of mine. I really am like, no, I will phone in and I have no guilt about that. And that's just where I'm at. I think also like yesterday I was on a call and my son came in, my 5-year-old, and he's like, Mom, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, what? And he's like, Chunk, our goldfish, Chunk died. And I was like, oh no. And then I was like, I gotta go. Like the fish just died. This is the first like family pet we've ever had. So I like ended my work call to like go be with him, set up a ceremony in the backyard. And then like 15 minutes later, I was back upstairs and I just called the person back I was on the phone with. But, I try not to take calls when I'm with the kids. I try not to be on the phone when I'm around them. I'm just cognizant of like that. But then, it's a balancing act. And I don't do a lot of girls' trips. I do one a year, more or less. The surf one is the second year for me. And it is soul-filling and amazing, and I do miss the kids the whole time. I don't know. I'm kind of like, it's constantly sitting in this struggle of like wanting to achieve and accomplish and create and put stuff out in the world, and then also feeling like my kids are only going to be 3, 5, and 6 once, and I just don't want to blow it. And that is like a really hard place to sit, as a mom. Like, it's a hard place to sit. It's like a no-win scenario, and I think you just do the best you can.
Oh, I needed that today, especially today. We just dropped our little one off for her last day of kindergarten, and I'm like, slow down, time.
Oh, I know.
And then someone told me when they're 10, they just want to hang out with their friends. So I'm like, what?
I know.
4 years of this like beautiful time together. One badass investor, and I know we'll talk about you in investing, but she gave me the advice too, like particularly like during summer, try to think of it like seasonally too, of when you really check in when the kids like have these lulls in school and whatnot. And so I'm trying to like build idyllic like summers with the kids too. Would you have a summer approach, or with summer coming up, do you have any guidance on maximizing summer?
I mean, I've basically designed my entire life around summer long before I had kids. So we spend our summers in northern Wisconsin. I have quit jobs. Like my first job as an accountant, I quit to go spend the summer at my lake house. So summer is a big deal for me. Like pretty much runs my whole life and has since I was like, I don't know, 16 years old.
Talk to me about like how do you soak up summer?
Well, we leave LA. We live in LA, but we leave LA. We go to Wisconsin. We go to see my husband's family in Michigan for a couple weeks, and then we have a minivan we keep in the Midwest. We drive up and over the Upper Peninsula, like up and over Lake Michigan, if anyone is familiar with the Midwest. And we end in northern Wisconsin, where we have like a family house on the lake that's been in the family for a few generations. It's like 6 little cabins, so we have our own little cabin, and then it's just like 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a living room. It's a small little kind of log cabin, if you will. And then we all kind of congregate at my parents' main house in the kitchen, and it's just a rotation of family and friends up the whole summer. We don't have any camps for our kids. we're kind of just like full on
Yeah.
every day doing stuff with the kids. And yeah, I like live for that. I mean, I really live for summers in northern Wisconsin. It's my favorite place in the world. For
I
like
love
8
it as a Minnesotan, and I know we met on the West Coast, but like we just booked with my folks we like a trip to Fair Hills, which is like a travel. I'd never heard of it growing up in Minnesota, but it's travel and leisure like award-winning
What is
resort.
Fairgrounds?
It's up near like near Fargo actually, but it has like giant slip and slide and like lake activities and all sorts of goodness. So I'm like,
So fun.
I didn't know this about you that you like soak up summer and that you
Oh
plan your life
yeah.
around
I
it.
mean, it's literally ruled my life. Like I went to camp when I was 8 years old for 8 weeks. Like my parents put me on a bus at 8 in Chicago and I like rode 5 hours up with my trunk, like Parent Trap, like full on canoeing, needlepoint, arts and crafts, tennis, horseback riding. We wore like
Epic.
an orange tie and a blue polo shirt every day. It was very Parent Trap. So that was like a super formative experience for me, and I just like being outside with my kids. So the more I can build in any outdoor time, I'm happy.
You make me so excited. Okay, is there one activity that you're like, this is like always a hit with kids? Because we're about to summer, like we've never summered before. So like, yeah,
Oh God, anything? No, I mean there's not. Like with
getting
kids, it could
filthy.
be like go find a bug by the tree
Yeah,
stump. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? I think it's just being there for the like slow, littler moments. I mean,
Yeah.
we do all the lake things. Like we have a water ski trainer. So like,
Oh,
they go
cool.
water skiing. There's a water trampoline up there. We do boat rides and all that stuff. But no, I think it's like the magic happens in the little moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
truly. Oh, there's also this concept of wintering, of like slowing down in winter and kind of going into hibernation and like cocooning a little bit. But there's something about summering too, of this time of like togetherness and family, and
Yeah.
there's something really powerful there, of like
And
in
it's
giving our
exhausting. Like the kids
yeah
are up late. Like you kind of really have to like pump yourself up. Like, okay,
yeah.
we're gonna be like really tired and really active for like 8 weeks, and then it's gonna like end.
Oh my gosh, this makes me so excited. We also do like Yosemite and just get filthy for camping for like 7 days with
Yeah,
the
I
kids,
know.
and
We
I'm
haven't
like,
done the camping yet with the kids. I really like want to be that mom, but I'm just not sure I am. It seems
I
like a
mean, you're
lot of
close with Rustic Cabin. When you're ready, we'll give you the tips. But you just have your kids,
not
and when
that
you're listening, you're
rustic, but
just
yeah, yeah. I mean, it kind of maybe played that up a bit, but
yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. So you co-founded Primal. You're kind of like known for that. You built a multi-hundred million, $400 million company, and
we sold it for 200. But yes,
yeah, okay, well, all right. Kind of this, okay, 200, 400, yeah. And you are still very involved, and you also like are an investor and whatnot. And I think, like the energy that you create with your team and with your people, and like you're scrappy, but then you also are really good at building teams. Can you talk about kind of like your pun intended secret sauce of like building a strong team and kind of that startup mentality?
yeah. I mean, I'm definitely scrappy. I think I hired all my friends, so this is like very unconventional. But like my first hire was Anna, who you know,
I
she's still our
love.
VP of marketing today, like 10 years, actually,
Yes.
literally 10 years later. Um, And then, Anna's best friend from college, Alex, who I've known since we were 18, took over Amazon. Natalia, our mutual friend, works for me in sales. Two people who hired me historically, I hired over at Primal Kitchen. So I just kind of put together a team of people that Anna was like working for. She had experience at Toro, which is a land mower, like a manufacturing of land mower equipment company. And then my friend Kelly, who works for us, she came from the beer industry. So these weren't people that like you would have hired maybe if you did a job search. But these were people that I knew were like really smart, really fun, go-getters. And I would take like a scrappy go-getter any day over like someone with a super polished, perfect resume, but maybe is going to be a little bit more like process oriented or slower to make a decision or need a lot of like facts. Like there's just a certain energy and culture fit that you need in like a growing organization. And I feel like I got really lucky with the people I brought in, and everyone is still there and everyone was amazing. So I
Having
really
fun
didn't have any
together.
like,
Like, how do
I
you
never had
remember?
an issue with any like friend I hired. I mean, I've had employee troubles, right? Like it's people's hard, right?
Any team, there are dynamics.
Totally. But Primal was amazing. But I give a lot of credit to Mark, the founder of Primal Kitchen and my partner at Primal Kitchen. And he created like a really great culture where we were all very aligned on like everyone had like walking desks and they were eating paleo and we were all very like in the lifestyle and we all were the target demographic. So it just made everything like a lot easier. Yeah. It wasn't like, I sit in a boardroom and we're selling products to someone that I know nothing about. This was like, we're all passionate paleo people. And
you wanted a better mayo. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, we're bought in on this concept of like more sugar is not good and people don't want canola oil. And so it just was fun. We just had a blast. And Mark was amazing. Mark didn't micromanage me. I'm very unprofessional. I'm very direct. I hate a formal review. I just like everything casual, like pick up the phone and have a conversation. Before we sold the company, I don't think we ever had a meeting with a PowerPoint deck. And we barely had many scheduled meetings. It was like there was 1 2-hour demand planning meeting a week. And then I just called Mark or Rick and Amanda and Anna and everyone I talked to 5 times a day. I didn't have 900 meetings on my calendar, which it was much more efficient and effective to get stuff done. So I appreciate that. But yeah,
you were able to do it and show like a different approach and around these principles, like you probably have like make it fun to change the world and it's about the good vibes. And I feel like you did that. Like you all like enjoyed it while you built it, which is, it wasn't just the hustle, even though you all hustled hard.
We were fully remote also like 10 years ago, which was like really.
That's fully remote.
Yeah. 10 years ago. So we were ahead of that trend. And I think if you like treat people like the adults they are, like it's amazing what comes from that. Like, you want to, I don't know. I could never imagine working 5 days a week in an office ever again. But I haven't done that for a long time because I always wanted to spend the summers in Wisconsin. So I would like get a job in the fall and like quit in the spring so I could go up to Wisconsin. And then finally I just started getting jobs where I could go up to Wisconsin and not have to
work from Wisconsin. Work. And then there's seasonal times where you crush it for it or you like crush your goals and then you like check out a little bit, then you check back in.
Totally.
Well, one of the other things that I love about Primal, as you know, like we met through Eat Real where I'm the CEO and Primal was our first corporate partner to give a transformational gift. So you donated and announced at South by Southwest that you were donating $1 million to help Eat Real take our school food program nationwide. And I'm like, I burst out crying when you announced it. And I
was like so casual. I was like, oh, by the way, I think we like got approved. And you were like, what? You're just dropping this at dinner?
I was like, we did not prepare. I was like, this is how it was. Yeah. And then you said it on stage and it made it very public, very fast. And then because since then, like, my update for you is like we're now, I think we were in like 5 states, almost 10. And then now we're on track to be in 15 to 20 and reach 1 million kids. So within a year and a half, it's been truly catalytic for the nonprofit. And I just want to talk a little bit about like what motivated you to do that and how did you and Mark also design the company to be so walk the talk and values driven? Like you do things differently for your team, but then also for your community. And you wanted real food, not just through the products that you make, but also through the impact that you make and the partnerships that you built like with Eat Real. So can you talk a little bit about like you made that happen with your team and like why did you do that and what was that about?
Well, I mean, I'm a mom, just a mom out there fighting the good fight against sugar and birthday treats and AYSO treats and end of the year school party treats. And it just feels like a never ending like assault on my kids with crap food. And I feel like, it's just not just my kids. You know all the stats. You taught me all the stats, just how horrible the health is of our youth. And it's so manageable. Like, it's just, why aren't we doing something about this? Like, we know better. It's 2025. To me, I always say, like, who smokes nowadays? Like, haven't you, like, we know this. I feel it's the same about food. Like, we know this. Yeah. How are we not fixing this starting at an early age? So I was just like super personally motivated and passionate about it. And I called Anna and I was like, okay. And she's like, done. Like, this is a no-brainer. She has 2 boys that are the same ages as mine. She was like, let's make it happen. So we had to push it up the chain through, Primal and the budgeting process and the whole thing. But it was kind of like this is just like a silly question, Nora, because it was kind of just like, duh. Like, of course we want to put our money here.
Well, you gave the money, but then you also like had us, you had an influencer back to school event with us in New York. Like you're also like the most ultimate wing women too. Like, right. Like you're like, how do we like get this story out there? And we're still dialing up impact. So I just am like, you didn't just give, you gave in a transformational way. And then you also like put your women power behind it and your team's power behind it, you know? And so I'm gonna cry again, but it's just like, it's been so transformational, and not everyone moves like you do. I think when we first got on the phone, you were donating $1,000 right there, like yourself, like you're like, you were multitasking, like putting your credit card information on her. Like I got like donation from Morgan, and then you're like calling your food service director being like, can we bring Eat Real to my school? And then you're DMing your team and you're just like, I'm personally getting involved. I'm getting my school district involved. Like you were just like, make it happen, Morgan. Like that's who you are to me.
No, that's so sweet.
But,
I love that. Maybe they can put that on my tombstone. Make it happen, Morgan. That's great.
That's you. Okay, so speaking of making it happen, I saw a glimpse, a hint on social media, even though the social media hint, you already have like 4,000 or 5,000 followers on your new brand, that you're launching a new brand and you're showing the sauce as you make it. Like, so you are like talking about how you had to look for IP for your new brand. Like, talk to us. What are you cooking up now?
Yeah, so what I'm cooking up now is a sparkling protein, I don't know, we'll call it like a sparkling protein drink, I guess. But basically, imagine like a poppy with 10 grams of protein in it. So, but 0 grams of sugar, 45 calories, 10 grams of protein. It's like the lowest protein to calorie ratio of pretty much any food or drink on the market, because it's basically sparkling protein water, if you will.
I like that as a mocktail, like a way better mocktail too.
Yeah,
that's like
totally.
That's the new happy hour, a protein happy hour.
For a busy mom on the go, or part of your lunch, or with your chomps in the afternoon. So basically, I just felt like, I'm supposed to be getting my 100 grams of protein a day. Like, I can't even find time to eat 3 meals a day. This is really hard to do. I'm snacking too much. How do I, like, up the protein, but separate myself from this? I've drank protein shakes for, like, 15 years, and I just stopped drinking them when I got pregnant. My taste buds changed, and I never went back. So how do we like up the protein that isn't gym bro, chalky, chunky, milky, dairy? So it's clear. The flavors are orange, grapefruit, and lemon, and they launch in Whole Foods in October. So I'm very excited.
I want to try it. I can't wait. That's amazing. Okay. And we can follow along. Where can we follow along if we want to?
You can follow along at Drink. The brand name is called Whey, WAAY, and it's drinkway.com or drinkway on Instagram, WAAY. And yeah, you can then go buy it. Buy it for me in October from Whole Foods. Try it. Let me know what you think.
You're gonna have like the most subscriptions ever, I feel like. And then what's your Instagram handle? Because I feel like also your like entrepreneurial journey, you're kind of like open. You're like showing behind the curtain of an entrepreneurial journey. So
sure. I'm Morgan Zanotti, Zanotti on Instagram and TikTok. I think I'm a little bit more like open on TikTok, to be honest, because it's so anonymous on TikTok. Instagram is like my whole world is there, like work, and I'm always like, ugh. But and full disclosure, I like deleted all social media from my phone. When I started reading Bridgerton, I deleted Instagram for like a year, and it was kind of transformational for me. My cousin does everything. Like I film all the content myself. I just send it to my cousin, and she uploads it for me.
That's amazing. You're like,
but I don't want to be on there. So if you message me, or I go in on like my desktop and I'll like respond to messages and comments and stuff.
Oh, I bet that helped you be a more present mom too. I feel like if I did that, that would be fantastic, and I should do that.
You got to get off that. That's toxic. It's a waste of time and life and energy. Forget that. Like, it's just, if you're posting, and it's actually an amazing tool if you're actually sharing, which I'm sure you are. But if you're just doom scrolling, I don't know. I just don't think it's a good place to be.
Yeah, you would
not good for
devour 400
marriage. I think it's honestly harder. I think what we're not playing up enough is like how hard it is on marriages.
Yeah.
Like to be married to someone who's always staring at their phone is a really tough place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Adam and I both struggle. I'm like, I know I'm full on get addicted, so I just can't have it on my phone.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
I'm not like better than anybody else because I deleted it. I'm just extra addicted, and so as a result I can't have it on my phone.
I love that hack. Okay, so I can't wait to try this. Of course you've tried all the flavors. They already did testing on all the flavors and all everything. They're like,
oh yeah, I mean testing, I don't know, that's a loose term, but I have I've done all the R&D. I found a person to make it. I'm done with package design. I registered my trademark actually a year ago for Whey. And I did find out this week that Way got like through the first trademark. There was no comment, so that was like a good
That's
positive thing.
awesome.
But yeah,
That's great. Okay, it's
yeah,
happening. Oh, okay. I'm way excited for you. Sorry.
yeah. You are
I
way
am. I'm very
excited. I know the Way puns are just going to be
Oh,
never
it's
ending
coming,
for me
especially
now.
as a Midwestern. I can't
Yeah,
even help it.
I know.
Okay, so in addition to being an entrepreneur, a mom, a multi-startup like entrepreneur now, and I can already see your exit, you're also an investor in other companies and in other endeavors. So like, just talk about what's your investment approach? How did you get that started?
So I'm actually not that big of an investor, to be honest with you. I've put money in like a few companies, like right
Okay.
now, like two.
Okay.
So very low, but I did just complete like an executive, well, I'm still involved in an executive in residence program with a huge private equity fund called Summit Partners. So it's a $10.5 billion fund. And I was helping them on just their investment thesis and introducing them to people in food and beverage and putting together kind of what we should be looking into for like kind of what's the future in investment for food and beverage. So yeah.
No big deal. Also an entrepreneur or yeah, an innovator in residence. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, for people that are just like thinking about wanting to get involved, like what's your guidance for getting started in that space?
If someone wanted to start like a food company.
Or no, if somebody or somebody
investment.
wants to start like, yeah, investing in,
Oh gosh, I don't know. Like that's tough.
like,
I
are you a
think
pick the jockey or a pick the horse? Like pick the person and the entrepreneur, or pick the idea.
I'm pick the
There needs to be
exit.
both.
I'm pick the exit. I don't think I'm in the idea or the jockey. I'm like a can I see someone actually buying this company? Meaning like will a Conagra or a Kellogg or a Dr. Pepper Sample Group or a Kraft Heinz actually buy this company? And that's kind of how I look at things. And now I think there's a lot more like, you know, you might have like a great idea, but it's in a category that like strategics are never going to buy in. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. So
And I think
that's,
you're really about like creating these better for you, better for the world companies, and then getting them to scale so that then they become entrepreneurial companies within these larger
yeah.
companies, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what we did with Primal. I mean, I ran Primal for 5 years after we sold the company, and they really like were super helpful at growing Primal Kitchen. I mean, we just found out recently that we reached Newman's Own market share. So
Wow.
the Newman's Own was always like Mark's idol. He was like, I just want to be like Paul Newman when I grew up. And now like Primal Kitchen's market share is at the same place that Newman's Own is. So that felt cool, right? Like,
And giving
you know,
back at like tremendous levels. And I had
yeah.
chicken dipping sauce on my eggs with veggies this morning. I'm like so
Dipping
obsessed.
sauce is so good. Yeah.
My little guy Nico's like chicken dipping sauce. Like I want my chicken dipping sauce.
love
He
it.
loves his.
I love it.
It's so good. Like all those
Yeah.
sauces. Like I do think you're helping kids learn to love real food and vegetables and like making it extra fun. I definitely consume more vegetables since I have Primal to zhuzh things up.
Yeah, you need it. Even the protein for the kids, I feel like I'm like chicken, and then I'm like, what sauce do you want? There's like 10 Primal Kitchen bottles on the table, and it helps.
Yeah,
for sure.
It does. It makes it a little fun and it gives them some investment. Okay, so let's talk about the future a little bit. Like I know that you're into like foresight and trends and helping people like think about what's the landscape gonna look like in a few years. So with the rise of AI and the tools that help people build brands faster and whatnot, and with health quickly evolving and data, how do you kind of see the landscape of the business world shifting with some of these new technological gains and whatnot,
I think
or transforming work?
transforming work, like I don't know that I'm an expert to speak on this, but I'm certainly like using AI myself. Like I think there are like AI affiliate management things where they're like blasting millions of people on TikTok, but if like 1% of people actually respond, it's impactful. So I think it will transform that kind of stuff. I think people are already using it to just limit the amount of time they need to do work tasks, which everyone already knows. I think I think what we aren't talking enough about is how like screwed therapists are, because ChatGPT is an excellent therapist. Like
That's an interesting you use it for therapy.
oh yeah. And I know like multiple people who are using it as they would a therapist, but it's available 24 hours a day. It's free. So I feel like the therapists are already feeling it. And like, I don't know that we're talking about that enough, but I think that's real. I love my therapist, but I will tell ChatGPT, like, pretend you're Bill Campbell, he was like Steve Jobs' mentor or something like that. He's a mentor for like these really crazy high successful people. Pretend you're him mixed with Rick Rubin and like give me advice, and it's just fascinating. Like you, if the more you give it, the better the output is. But
And it knows you.
I think the therapy thing is definitely happening.
Fascinating. Okay, and so what are other ways that you're using in your everyday to make your life better?
Lots of like for my model, I would be like, what does a controller make in 2025, right? Like and it'll be like for a beverage company of your size, this is what we'd recommend. A fractional controller will come on in year next year when you're between 4 and 10 million in revenue. Like it really helped just line item by line item, like gut check what I had in my model for
Yeah.
the people build. Even
Yeah, we're
things
using it for
like
JDs. Yeah.
yeah, totally. That kind of stuff that's just I hate doing JDs, so that kind of stuff I think it was like really helpful for.
So cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like you're on it, and yeah, and I love interesting to think about how it's going to transform therapy or like some of these jobs that we're not anticipating that it impacting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just in closing, I guess, do you have any kind of Morgan words of wisdom for someone like that is starting a company or someone that's really scaling a company? Like, what words of wisdom do you have for them to really think big and in a bold way?
I think you got to think big and in a bold way, and I think you have to expect that like you're going to ask yourself why am I doing this like for years before you realize why you're doing it. It will probably make sense in the rearview mirror, but not looking forward. I've been on that journey myself. I think it's all about unit economics if you're in food and beverage. So make sure you're not launching with a negative gross margin product, assuming that at scale you're going to have these big savings. Like our mayonnaise is still manufactured more or less for the same price it was today as it was when we launched 10 years ago. It's not, you got to have a real clear path and launch with like the right unit economics. So you're not kind of set up just fundraising money for the rest of your life. That's very tactical. But then I think one big like business thing I live by is just like, it's all about relationships in the end of the day. So like be nice to everyone. And I think relationship karma pays back in spades. So the more you can invest in that, the better off you'll be.
I love it. Well, thank you for just being such a positive ball of energy, for building so many like wonderful relationships and bringing so many people together. And thank you for doing business differently and for your generous and just like fully alive approach to work and home and being a badass mom. You're a total inspiration. And I'm just so thankful for you.
Oh, thanks, Nora. Right back at you.